Here at the Barroom, our growing list of shows begins with outstanding Chicago Bears coverage. Former Bears scouting director Greg Gabriel and sports reporter David Schuster begin and end the week with analysis and uncensored opinion. You can't tailgate at Soldier Field, but you can do it virtually every day before game time on the Barfly Tailgate Show. After every Bears game, the passion is unleashed on our Bear Football Show, which you can find on our YouTube channel and social media pages. Midweek, get a comprehensive update on the Bears' upcoming opponent with Buffon 55. Also on Hump Day, make sure you check out Dan and Aldo Bare Their Souls. It's penance for Bears fans. We all know winning teams are built through the NFL Draft, and that's why Draft on Tap is a must for Bears fans. The best way to win your fantasy football season is by listening to Tuesday's Fantasy Football Goon Show. Want to win more money and be entertained by the great Mike North? He's here at the Barroom. Mike isn't the only Chicago sports radio icon at the Barroom. Join Les Grobstein and David Schuster as they take you on a whole new dimension in sports talk. And there's David and Mark Shanowski, two of the absolute best NBA reporters in Chicago. They keep you up to date on all the Bulls happenings with sharpshooters. The Cubs are covered like their field during a rain delay with the new Friendly Confines show. Whether you're a sports collector or not, you'll enjoy Stuff Your Mom Threw Out, Just Don't Tell Mom. Don't be in the dark on what's happening on Netflix, HBO, and all the other streaming networks. Check out I Have a Stream. And that's not all. We're adding new shows all the time here on the Barroom Network.
Listening to the Ballroom Network. The following program is intended for all audiences. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Goon Podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, the Goon, and John Santucci, the Tooch. We're bringing you the fantasy football knowledge that you need every single week.
Derrick Henry still going. Stays in bounds. He might go. 99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Flushed out again all the way back. Turning the corner. Fires downfield. Caught. Touchdown. Only Mahomes turns what might have been a 15-yard sack into a 27-yard touchdown.
Saquon Barkley across midfield, down the sideline, stayed in bounds, and Barkley takes it all the way. 68 yards for his first NFL touchdown. McCaffrey right up the middle, and he is gone for the touchdown. 58 yards. And this is to Thomas. He's gone. Touchdown Saints.
Okay, it's time for the easiest part of any coach's job, the cut. Now, while I wasn't able to cut everyone I wanted to, I have cut a lot of you. Steven, I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cut you. Congratulations, the rest of you made the team. Except you and you.
God bless fantasy football. There are many things a man can do with his time. And this, better than those things.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday edition of the Fantasy Football Goon Show. I'm your host, Joe Mandel, the Goon, and joining me, as always, is this guy over here, John Santucci, the Tooch. Tooch, what's going on, buddy? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Football day is here, and I just hope I don't stumble like Daniel Jones, Joe.
Yeah, it looks like he had a few too many to drink before that run.
I think he was surprised that the run was that wide open, and he just outran his legs.
Oh, he said he hit a higher speed than Lamar Jackson. Did you see that?
Yeah, he got up to like 21.8 miles per hour, which is incredible.
Probably why he fell.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't fumble too, Joe.
Yeah, well, he's still got time. He could still fumble a lot more. But anyway, we're here live with the Sunday edition. Inactives are coming out. Someone's trying to call me as I'm live on air, which you know that always happens. But anyway,
do you need to take that one?
I ignored that one. So anyway, we're here. It's Sunday. It's fantasy day. Inactives are coming out. And Tooch, we just got a big inactive for
huge.
the day. We actually got breaking news, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it here if I could find the breaking news drop. We interrupt this program for breaking ballroom news. Yes, that's right. Aaron Jones inactive today for the Packers, who's supposed to he had a finger-licking good matchup against the Houston Texans, Tooch, and he's not going to play in this
baby.
one.
Yeah, huge game for Jamal Williams today, I think, man. If you were, intrepid enough and clever enough to pick up Jamal Williams at the first sign of Aaron Jones' injury distress, you're going to be rewarded today. I think a big game for Jamal Williams against the Texans.
I think so too. And we got a question from Dad22. Thoughts on Aj Dillon with Jones out today? That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one we really don't know how it's going to play out, but he's going to see an increased workload today. And with talent like Aj Dillon, I could see you using him in a flex role today, too. What do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. I think obviously Jamal Williams was used to spell Aaron Jones, and I think
for sure.
Aj Dillon's going to be used to spell Jamal Williams. So I think you'll see Aj Dillon. You might even see Aj Dillon, get some series as the first and second down back, and then Jamal Williams as the third down back, and then other times, Jamal Williams getting 3 downs. But I expect a high-scoring game in this one. So goal line back, it's possible Aj Dillon, sees a goal line touch and gets a touchdown. I like Jamal Williams will also, he's a good goal line back too.
Yeah, Williams is going to be the guy today. I originally had Aaron Jones as my number 1 fantasy running back. Obviously, I swap out Jamal Williams and I put him probably inside the top 10 now. He's not my number 1 now. But I like Dillon in a flex spot. So you could fire up Aj Dillon in a flex role. It's a little bit of a roll on the dice, but I expect him to have probably at least 1 goal line carry and possibly score once today. So
who would be your number 1 back if Aaron when now that Aaron Jones is out? Because for me it would be Alvin Kamara with Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders out. I expect stratospheric numbers for Kamara.
It's between Zeke and Kamara. I like Zeke against the Redskins.
Yeah, see, I like that Redskins front 7, and then their game plan has to be to shut Zeke down to get Andy Dalton to throw. I don't expect that to be that high scoring of a game. Whereas the Saints and Panthers game could get, I think that over under is 50 around there. 50 to 52. I think it opened at 52 and now it's at 50.5. But that game to me, they're not throwing to Michael Thomas. They're not throwing to Emmanuel Sanders. I think the guys that are going to get the receptions are Kamara and Cook. You'll see Traquan Smith,
and that's about it. Yeah.
Right. Do you think it'll be a Latavius Murray day as they try to pound it against the Panthers if they get ahead?
I think so. I think if they want to win this game, they're going to have to use Kamara as a pass catching back, and they're going to have to use Murray as the beat him down workhorse guy. So I think you could see both guys getting a heavy workload in this game, and that's what they're going to have to do to win.
Could you see Murray going over 100 yards today?
I could. The Carolina run defense, very sporadic. So
yeah, it seems like they're the beginning of obviously they shored up their run defense a little bit more, but I believe their run stuffer short is still out. But you got to figure that they're gonna pound the ball with Murray.
Yeah,
with all those receivers out. Question: James White have a tough matchup today against San Francisco?
I don't think it's as tough as advertised because that San Francisco defense is really banged up. He's going to catch a lot of balls anyway, so their secondary has not been good.
Mm-hmm.
I like James White in this game too.
I do too.
I think he's going to get a lot of work.
This is a bye week special, where you need to plug in a guy if you have someone out on a bye like Dalvin Cook. James White's a good plug-in for 10, 12 points, But I think this matchup is game script dependent. If New England gets ahead, you're going to see more Damian Harris. If New England is even or behind, you're going to see James White catching the ball. It could get 10 targets, in the script like that.
Yeah, so I like me some James White, and I think he's a good flex play this week for sure. But Tooch, let's walk through some more of the inactives before we get into start and sits.
Yeah.
So the inactives for the early games are out. Of course, Packers at Texans, the big name there. Aaron Jones not going to play in this game.
Right.
That's, we just talked about that. That shuffles things up a bit. But
Robert Tonyan active, in case people were wondering. I know he has been banged up.
Yeah, thankfully. And then for the Texans, Tooch, Jordan Akins, the tight end, still inactive for this one.
Yeah, and I had to pick up a tight end having some guys on bye, or I don't remember whether it was bye or injury. And Darren Fells, a good bye week pick. My choice was Fells or Gronkowski. I went with Gronkowski. But Fells, man, there's a lot of mouths to feed in Texas. With those receivers,
yes,
you got David and Duke Johnson, but Fells has been getting, he's a big goal line. The dude's 6'7", 260, 270. That Packers not the best against the tight end either. So
no, not at all.
It's a great bye week replacement, and you got a little over an hour to make that waiver claim for Fells. But Great pickup. I think great flyer, the streamer, the tight end this week.
I agree, man. And then moving on to that Panthers-Saints game we were just talking about. Of course, Christian McCaffrey still inactive, Tooch. And then on the Saints side, still Michael Thomas, for whatever reason, still out of this one. Same thing with Emmanuel Sanders, who's on the COVID list.
Those ankle sprains, man, I'm telling you. That's, McCaffrey, Thomas, all these guys with ankles.
And there's something in the water.
Now you've got Joe Mixon with the ankle too. So you'll see a lot of Gio Bernard today.
Yes, I think you will for sure, Tooch. And moving on to the next game, Bills at Jets. A lot of people out of this one, Tooch. There's a lot of injuries in this game. So you got Josh Norman not playing for the Bills. John Brown inactive as well. TJ Yeldon is inactive. And then tight end Dawson Knox for the Bills. For the Jets side, Jamison Crowder inactive for this one, Tooch.
Rashad Perriman, fire him up. But Sam Darnold is back, right, Joe?
Sam Darnold is back, and he also gets a new weapon today, Tooch. Denzel Mims will be making his Jets debut today.
Wow, man. For Josh Allen owners, you got to be hoping, you're glad that Sam Darnold is back, because then this has a chance to be more high-scoring game than it would with Joe Flacco. Here the Bills get up ahead, and they're just going to feed the ball to Singletary and Moss. And, you want to see, if you're a Josh Allen owner, you want to see him light it up. Of course, his deep threat, John Brown, out today, as you said. But super sleeper, Gabriel Davis, who's another speedster, could see some play today, Joe, for the Bills.
I think so too, and I think for the Jets side, Denzel Mims could be a super sleeper for today too, as well, Tooch.
Last time the Bills and Jets played was week 1, I think, week 1 or week 2, and Josh Allen just smashed them. 3 touchdowns, 315 yards passing. I think he might have ran for a touchdown as well too. So. Are you expecting a big game from Allen today? I know you have him.
I am. I have him ranked really high. I have him ranked, I think.
You have him number 4. Yep.
Yeah, I have him ranked
All
at
right.
number 4 for quarterback, so I think he's going to have a great day.
Great.
The Bills are going to attack, and we all know how bad the Jets are, too. So it might be a rough day for
They're one of Tooch's tomato cans.
That's right. Just keep smashing that can.
And you got to, the tomato cans, the Jaguars, Jets, the Falcons. So, get your guys in against these teams. The Cowboys, another one.
And then one of the fantasy gold games of the week, too, is the Lions at Falcons.
Yeah.
Inactives are out for that one as well. And there's no really names on this list. You got Desmond Trufant, the corner, is going to be out for the Lions. And then Bo Scarborough not playing in this one either. But again, not huge names. And on the Falcons side of the ball, the only bigger names are Deidrin Senat, the defensive tackle, Jalen Hawkins, the safety, and Jordan Miller, a cornerback in this one. So it looks like all the big names are going to be active for this game, too. So you want to fire all those guys up.
You got Matt Stafford up at number 7. That's pretty high if you're streaming. Joe expects a big game from Stafford today against that. That has a high over under too. I think it's at 55. Is it that high, or is it 51 now?
We lost you for a second there, too. You broke up. What was the beginning of that?
The over under for that game is in the 50s for
I
Lions.
think it was 55 and a half.
I think it was 55.
Yeah.
So you want to get your guys in on this game, and Stafford and Ryan, good streaming options today.
Oh, no doubt. And then moving on to the next game, Tooch, the Cowboys against the Washington football team. Inactive list also very big for this one.
Yeah, the Cowboys'
mostly
offensive line banged up too, Joe, in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the offensive line is out with backups in, and then, defensive end, Bradley and A is out. Reggie Robinson, the second cornerback, Rashad Smith, also missing this one. That's a big name. Oof. And then Luke Gifford missing this game too. For the Washington football team, Dwayne Haskins still inactive too, so that's something that's going to be monitored. I'm sure they're trying to trade him.
Man, I love the Redskins in this game, man. I'll tell you, or the football team. Sorry, it's going to take a while. This is what I said. I wish they would just pick a damn name so I could start calling them that, like Red Hawks.
I know.
Something. I don't care. Red Arrows.
Yeah, they will. They'll pick one soon. But a lot of inactives.
They should call their team the Deep State.
Washington
Deep State.
A lot of inactives on the defense for the Redskins. A lot of defensive players out. James Smith-Williams out. Casey Toohill, the linebacker, and Thomas Davis, senior linebacker. All these guys are going to miss the game. So I know you like the football team in this one, dude, but I think the Cowboys are going to come roaring back. I think I think this is going to be all Cowboys.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm firing up as many Cowboys as I can. You're getting Terry McLaurin active.
I got some stats for you on this game, by the way.
Remember,
we talk about J.D. McKissick, and where do you think he sits as most targeted running backs in the league? Would you say
he's in the top 5?
He is number 5, Joe. Number 5.
Wow.
Targets. Number 5, J.D. McKissick. We talked about him the past couple of weeks. So if you're thinking about a good start, and this is in the James White, we were just talking about James White. So a good bye week fill-in, J.D. McKissick. And
I'm going in the guillotine league right now. I'm adding McKissick.
There you go. I love it.
So let's move on to the next game, Tooch, football team. We got a couple questions in the chat. We're gonna get to your questions, guys, just as soon as we get through the inactives. So,
all right,
so we'll be answering those questions really shortly. But Cleveland Browns at the Bengals, Tooch. Austin Hooper inactive for this one.
What? I didn't know this. Wow.
Yeah, Austin Hooper just announced as inactive.
So David Njoku starting?
It looks like David Njoku is going to be starting since he's back off of IR.
Okay. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who the third string tight end is, to tell you the truth. I'd have to effort that, Joe. But I mean, the over-under in this game's around 50 as well, too, with the Bengals. And if you remember, this is the game I said last week or earlier this week that in the first time these two teams met, Joe Burrow threw the ball 61 times. So I love Tyler Boyd, Gio Bernard, and T. Higgins. Today you might see AJ Green too. But, I mean, do you expect AJ Green to be traded? I expect him to be traded somewhere like Ravens or Patriots.
I think he's going to be traded. I don't think you're going to see him do much today because of that. I think they're probably having conversations. So if you're playing AJ Green, I'd take your foot off the gas a little bit. But because as you talked about, Tooch, Joe Mixon inactive for this game. Yeah, as well as John Ross. So
there you go.
If they don't use AJ Green, it's going to be very evident, and you're going to see a lot of these other weapons on this team, Tooch.
Yeah, where would be some good landing spots for AJ Green? Because
I'm with you. I'm with you. I think New England would be a great spot.
Baltimore. What about Chicago?
The Bears could definitely use him.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's a good spot.
We're looking at teams that have like one big dog receiver and like nothing much for the number 2 receiver, which is the case in Chicago.
A team that I'm thinking of that not a lot of people are. I think
Packers.
I could see him landing on. I could see that, but I could also see him going to the Colts.
The Colts would be another one. Very good. Yeah, Colts would be a great spot for him.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Some other inactives in this game on the defensive side of the ball. The Browns linebacker Jacob Phillips not playing in this, and then Joe Jackson, the defensive end. And for the Bengals, cornerback William Jackson going to miss this one. And then their kicker, Austin Siebert. So it looks like they must be using another kicker for this one.
All right. Yeah, I expect a high-scoring game in this one, Joe. You?
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it's going to go over for sure.
Yeah, the last time I think it was like 33-31 or something like that in this game.
Yeah. And the inactives just came out, Tooch, for the Titans-Steelers game. They're playing in Tennessee for this one, Tooch. And there's a lot of people missing this game, almost entirely defensive players. Mike Hilton, cornerback for the Steelers, Derek Watt, Carlos Davis, Isaiah Buggs, backup tight end Zach Gentry going to miss this one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then for the Titans, safety Joshua Kalu, David Long, the linebacker, Matt Dickerson, and Derek Robertson as the defensive ends. So a lot of the defense is really heavily banged up in that game, too. That's a good sign for both offenses.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love the Tennessee's, offense with the play action with Henry and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the Steelers are a good run defense. Yeah, they're a good defense overall, and I expect this to be a lower scoring game. I don't think the Steelers will have as much trouble scoring as the Titans will. But the Titans get Jonnu Smith. They get Jonnu Smith back. That's good for them. AJ Brown is going to play. And then, of course, they have Derrick Henry. But the Titans' defense has not been as good as it was last year. And bottom line,
I agree. It'll be an interesting one to watch. And while the later game inactives aren't out yet, Tooch, there are some players that have been announced out. So in the Buccaneers-Raiders game, wide receiver Brian Edwards not going to play in that one.
I had such high hopes for him, Joe.
I know, we both did. For the Chiefs-Broncos game, Tooch, there's a couple inactives that are out later this afternoon. Sammy Watkins out of this one. Taco Charlton at defensive end and Alex Okafor at defensive end. And then for the Broncos, Deontay Spencer, the wideout, out for this one, as well as Jeremiah Atachu, the linebacker. The big name for the Jacksonville Jaguars that's going to be out this afternoon against the Chargers, Tooch, Tyler Eifert and Miles Jack. Eifert, of course, dealing with a neck. Miles Jack just banged up. Second week in a row, he's going to miss that one. And that really helps the Chargers not having Jack on the field.
Yes. I mean, like I said, you and I were talking before the show about how the Jaguars haven't scored more than 16 points 3 out of the last 4 games. I mean, that's not a lot of points for your Jaguar players. You know, if you got James Robinson, DJ Chark, Chenault,
Right.
Cole, all these guys, they're not scoring, and Chargers are a pretty good defense. So I mean, I don't the over under isn't especially high in this. I think it's around 46 today, and Chargers are favored by I think a touchdown. They're around a touchdown, 5.5 to 7.
It's 7.5 is the last
7.5. So that it doesn't leave a lot of points for the Jaguars today. You know, now there's talk about benching Minshew for Mike Glennon, which would be a terrible idea. But
Terrible.
that's I mean, that traveled across country, you know, from Jacksonville to LA. You know, that's a long trip. I just I don't think you're going to see the Jaguars put up a lot of points today. That's just me, though.
I'm with you, buddy. And then, let's dive in. The 49ers, Patriots, the full inactive list not available yet, but the 49ers, Quan Alexander, the linebacker, the big man, he's missing this one. So is Jaquiski Tart, the safety, Jimmy Ward, a cornerback, and the biggest name, Tooch, Raheem Mostert, out for this one.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that Jerick McKinnon didn't get more play last week. It was mostly Jermichael Hasty, who was a practice squad player. He's a rookie, good-looking young running back too. But Jerick McKinnon's a guy they paid a lot of money for, who's had knee problems the past 2-3 years. They just don't like him in that every down role. Jeff Wilson is going to play today. So again, this is the teams like the Rams, the 49ers, the Patriots, the Ravens, they like throwing 3 running backs at you, and fantasy managers are going to experience that kind of frustration.
Absolutely. It's very frustrating. And Tooch, two more games. We got a couple inactives for. Obviously, the full list will come out later, but Seahawks at Cardinals for Sunday Night Football tonight.
Good game, Joe?
It's going to be a great game, and things got a little easier for the Cardinals now. Safety Jamal Adams going to miss this one, Tooch, for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, that's good news for for tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. Adams controls that kind of area of the field. So, the Seahawks allow a lot of points to catches to running backs. So you could see a Chase Edmonds game and maybe a bust game for Kenyan Drake. He had a huge game last week, and that was expected. Against the Cowboys, they can't stop the run. This week, the Seahawks have done a pretty good job stopping the run. It's the pass they can't stop, and the running backs out of the backfield. So if you might see Kyler Murray scramble a lot more than you see Kenyan Drake.
You're going to see it a lot.
Yeah. So
I love Kyler Murray. I have him ranked as my number 1 fantasy quarterback this week, Tooch.
Who would you rather start? Cardinals running backs, Drake or Edmonds today?
I'm going to take Drake today, Tooch, just because the Seahawks have not been great on defense as a whole. I think both guys are going to have a good day, but I still think Drake's on the upswing. I think he's coming back. He looks like he's starting to get healthy, Tooch, and I think that's the big difference
they don't use him in the passing game like they should, and I think with Seahawks – the Seahawks are the team that give up the most receptions to the running back. I think I might rather start Edmonds. That's just me. But obviously fantasy managers like the touches that Drake gets. And he's getting 18 touches a game, and the share is kind of 60-40 or 70-30 for Drake. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if Drake gets a lot of yards rushing and Edmonds gets the touchdowns, whether it's on a pass play out of the backfield on 3rd down, or getting one of Drake's goal line carries.
Absolutely. And Steve Mee wishing us good evening from Dublin. Bear down. Well, bear down, Steve. Thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Appreciate it. And while we're talking about Kenyan Drake, we got a couple Kenyan Drake questions too, so we might as well address them. Real quick, the only inactives out for the Monday night game tomorrow right now is Sherrick McManus, going to be inactive for the Bears.
Sure.
Everything else still up in the air, but we know that's for sure. But let's get to your questions in the chat room, guys. So we got quite a few. We got quite a few questions here. We got a Kenyan Drake question. So I have Drake, Jacobs, Robinson, Jamal Adams, and Gio Bernard. I need 3 out of those. Who are you starting? So
I'm starting Jamal Williams and Gio Bernard. And then I hate resting Jacobs, because he gets a lot of touches.
I know Jacobs has a bit of a tough matchup, but I still think you got to go with Williams. I never thought I'd start Bernard over any of these other guys, but Gio's matchup is so good today. It's really hard not to start him there.
Yeah, Williams and Bernard for me are 2 for sure. The other one, it's kind of a toss-up. I think they're all in the same vein, but
Cleveland's defense is really banged up too, guys. So that's something you got to keep in mind.
There you go. It's between Jacobs, Robinson, and Drake for me. I'd probably take Robinson, I guess, just because he gets a lot of touches.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go Williams for sure. I'm gonna take Josh Jacobs just because I really think that
it's hard to sit Jacobs today. Yeah,
and then I do like Gio, but I don't think maybe call me crazy. I think Drake's gonna have a good day today. So out of these guys, I'm going with Jamal Williams, Josh Jacobs, and Kenyan Drake. Tooch and I feel a little differently here about Drake, but I think Drake's going to have a good game.
With Mixon out, man, and Burrow throwing the ball 61 times. I like a lot of touches for Bernard. Jamal Williams, the running back has killed the Texans. And then I probably go. For me, it's either Jacobs or Robinson. But like I said, I don't like the Jaguars, so I'll take Jacobs.
They got most of these guys have great matchups. So Sam, great job drafting and working the wires. So that's pretty awesome. So backing it up a little bit, we got a question from Connor: Aj Dillon or David Montgomery today? Oh, David Montgomery technically on Monday.
Yep.
I mean, you don't know what you're going to get out of Dillon, so I think that for sure you're going to get, a decent amount of carries for Montgomery. So I'm leaning that way, Tooch.
Montgomery for me. Just touches.
Same guy, Connor. Teddy Bridgewater or Jared Goff?
I'll take Bridgewater.
I'll take Bridgewater as well. I don't like Jared Goff. He's one of our sits of the week.
I mean, the Bears absolutely destroyed him last time. He couldn't do anything. He had negative points, I think, last time the Bears and Rams played. But, this one's in Los Angeles. So, It's a low-scoring game, too. I mean, they're only 45 or 46 is the over-under. So for the Bears-Rams. So they don't expect a high-scoring game. So for me, I'm going to take Bridgewater.
Yep, and then Josh Durazio wants to know Jamal Williams or Kenyon Drake.
For me, it's Williams.
PPR. You got to go Williams because of that matchup. Houston can't stop anybody in any capacity. So I like both guys, but Jamal I think is going to go nuts today. So I love that. Oh, we already answered that one. Jared Goff or Andy Dalton?
Is there anybody else out on the wire? You got to be able to pick up Stafford or Burrow or, I don't like either of these guys. I don't expect a big game. If I had to choose, I guess I'll take Dalton.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd take Dalton. But, there's a lot of other guys that might be on your waiver wire.
Yeah, a Roethlisberger, a Stafford.
I even like Tannehill against Pittsburgh over him. Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow would be a great.
Teddy Bridgewater.
I'd take Sam Darnold over Andy Dalton. Teddy Bridgewater as well.
I doubt he's available, but Justin Herbert's got a great matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars today.
Man, I'd probably rather have Drew Lock over Andy Dalton. That's just me. But the Cowboys' offensive line is so injured right now.
But Dalton's going to have a lot to prove today, so he might come up fired up. So out of the two, we're going to go with Dalton.
Andy Dalton, yep.
And then Carlos on Facebook wants to know DJ Moore or Chris Godwin. I think you got to go with Godwin.
I think you have to go Godwin too. But, DJ Moore has killed the Saints in the past. And I expect Marshawn Lattimore to be on Robbie Anderson. The thing is that Moore gets a lot of targets. He doesn't get a lot of red zone targets. That's the thing that worries me about Moore, being a Moore owner myself. Do I want to play Moore? Yeah, I want Moore to be a number one wide receiver. He just hasn't done it. Robbie Anderson has come in and he's taken a lot of that, red zone, because Robbie Anderson's 6'5". DJ Moore's 5'11". So Anderson's just a bigger target in the red zone. So
He is.
Moore's got to make his hay, between the 20s and then break one like he's done this season. So
Yeah, and the Las Vegas secondary not great. They're not terrible, but they're not great.
yeah,
They're gonna have to defend against Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Gronk looks like he's getting his wheels back.
yeah, and soon Antonio Brown, right?
That's where I was about to segue into it, Tooch. Thank you. The Packers, the Tampa Bay Bucks signing Antonio Brown to a 1-year deal that apparently could be worth up to a max $2.5 million.
Well, a lot of this, do you think, is driven by Mike Williams? He's banked up. I mean, they had to go and get somebody.
Mike Williams.
I mean, Mike Evans. Sorry,
Mike Evans is banged up, but he is going to play. Apparently Tom Brady was really pushing for it, from what the reports are saying. So.
Yeah, he had a huge game back when he was with the Patriots. He didn't play much with the Patriots because fell out over there. But he had one huge game with Brady. So yeah,
I mean, that team's really stacked now.
Yeah, that's going to open it up for Godwin. For me, that question was Godwin or Moore. I mean, Godwin, I think you got to cash in now before Brown gets here.
Yeah, well, I think this helps Godwin. I've got a lot of questions. I've got a lot of questions this week saying, "Oh man, that really sucks for me because I have Chris Godwin." But I'm like, no, I think it helps you, man.
Yeah, because Godwin plays in the slot.
Because now they could literally use Mike Evans as a decoy every play.
Yeah, and Godwin looked pretty good last week. He was a little rusty, admittedly, but he still didn't look. He didn't look bad. He looked good. He looked flat. He looked fast, and just wasn't in the right. He wasn't on the same page with Brady a couple times, but imagine that's gonna iron itself out as we go along here.
Absolutely, and I'm typing in the chat, guys. Any more fantasy lineup questions? Please get them to us. We're going to answer them right here, right now, on the air. Tooch and I just talking about all the inactives, all the madness going on in the NFL. The Raiders game against the Bucks was in question for a little while because there was some COVID positive tests, but they've got enough negatives now, so they don't have to worry about it tonight. That game is going to go on as scheduled this afternoon. Originally, it was a day game, then they pushed it to the afternoon, so it looks like that one's going to get in. So
that
should be a great game.
Seahawks and Cardinals were flexed to Sunday night.
That's right.
That was originally, I forget which game was originally in that spot.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but
remember.
It worked out just fine because that's going to be a great game.
I think it was Buccaneers and Raiders were in that slot, wasn't it?
No, they were a day game originally.
Okay, that's odd because I can't imagine the Raider at Las Vegas being an early, like noon game. Being the West. I guess it could. I mean, Vegas isn't Pacific time; it's Mountain time, right?
No, I think it's Pacific.
Is it?
Yeah. So right now it's 9:19 in Vegas. Wait, that math is terrible in my mind. Yeah,
that's Pacific time. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm usually in Central time, but I'm on Eastern time right now too, so I'm a little out of whack.
All right. Any more questions then for the Goon Show?
Well, we don't have any right now, but if you got them, get them in. Tooch and I will quickly remind you folks that there are 4 bye weeks going on this week, guys. You've got the Vikings on a bye, the Dolphins on a bye, Colts, and the Ravens. So a lot of big names out there that aren't playing. I'm hurting for lineup spots in some of my leagues, and of course, it's the one league where I don't have any IR spots. But again, I'm not the commissioner of that one. Tooch knows about that.
Yeah.
So I had to play, I think, Jeff Wilson or something crazy like that. But
who is supposed to play today? Yeah,
he is going to be active. And with Mostert out, he might see some action tonight. So
yeah.
We talked a little bit about our starts of the week on Tuesday, Tooch, but let's do a quick recap for everybody while we're here. So for this week, our start of the week at quarterback, I am taking Baker Mayfield versus the Bengals. I think he's going to have a great day. even being a little bit banged up. And you're taking the other end of that matchup, aren't you, Tooch?
Yep, taking Joe Burrow, who, like I said, threw the ball 61 times. Probably won't. He's not going to throw it 60 times again. But
I hope not.
Right. So I like that. I like the matchup for Burrow.
Yeah, but then at running back, my start of the week was a bit of a flop. Devontae Freeman got hurt against the Eagles, so that one didn't work out, Tooch. But you have a guy, Justin Jackson, who is going to be playing today against the Jaguars.
Yeah, he's got a knee, though. I mean, you might see a little bit more Josh Kelly than you thought, because Justin Jackson does have a sore knee, so he might be limited. But I expect good things from him. He looked good last week.
He did look good last week, so we'll see what happens there. But at wide receiver, Tooch, our starts of the week, my start of the week, Kenny Galladay against the Falcons this afternoon.
Yep.
I think that's gonna be a super high scoring game.
It's time for Galladay to put up or shut up, because I mean he's been dependent on a big play, like one big play per game since he's come back. That saved his fantasy week. So let's see him do it like we've seen him do it in the past.
And Galladay, as well as a bunch of other players on that Lions roster, have been lobbying for him to get the contract extension. I imagine he's going to want to put up a big game to help with those negotiations. So look for Galladay to have a huge day today.
And they really don't have a choice. I mean, they don't have much of anything. You know, if Galladay were to leave in free agency, there's not much, you know.
While we're talking Lions, there are some rumors that they might be trading Marvin Jones to a team that needs some wide receiver help, Tooch.
Yep.
Who do you see as potential landing spots for Marvin Jones?
I could see, like we said, some of the same teams, like Patriots, the Colts.
The Packers.
I mean,
probably not in the division.
In the division, it would maybe be prohibitive, but I mean, Marvin Jones hasn't done that much this season, you know, like he has in past, you know, and he's an older wide receiver, so maybe it's worth it for the Lions to get a Packers draft choice, you know, away from them.
Yeah,
but Buccaneers maybe with the they just signed Antonio Brown, so that's probably unlikely. The Saints you know,
could use them today.
The Saints. Yeah, the Saints could really use them today. I'm trying to think of teams that are trying to make a splash. I mean, the Raiders and Eagles are obviously wide receiver needy, but are they in it? I mean, that's the Raiders. You can kind of say
the Raiders
are in it. Yeah, so the Raiders might be.
The Eagles technically are in it, even though they can make the playoff with six. They can make the playoffs with 6 wins, too. How sad is that? Which
is what the Eagles do. I mean, they struggle but then they come on strong later in the season and win the division, you know, and then make it into the playoffs, and they win the first round of the playoffs, and they go home, except for the 1 year when they went all the way and beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But I mean, that's an Eagles thing to do, you know, where they kind of scuffle around.
It is,
you know.
But Tooch, who's your start of the week at wide receiver this week?
I like Terry McLaurin. You know, that's the target share against that Cowboys secondary. I'm not that confident in the quarterbacking to get him the ball like we would like. So maybe another week of practice for Kyle Allen, and that irons out. But
brother, and let's move on to our tight end starts of the week. You had originally chosen Austin Hooper, who's inactive now.
Yeah.
Who else do you think is going to have a good game in his place?
I don't know who's going to be playing in Hooper's place.
Njoku, maybe.
Njoku. I wouldn't take him as my start of the week as a tight end, though. I mean,
I'm going to pick and you're going to swap somebody else for Hooper.
Yeah, I'll probably go with. I might stay hot and ride it with T.J. Hawkinson, but
I like that. He's got a great matchup.
Yeah, Gronkowski as well is a good pick for a lot of targets and getting in the end zone against the Raiders. But last week I took Hawkins. This week I'll take Gronk. Although Darren Fells I've spoken of will be a good pick.
Well, I went with Robert Tonyan, who was questionable going against Houston, but he's going to play the Texans horrible against the tight end Tooch, and Tanyan, it looks like Rodgers really likes to look his way. I could see him having a real big day today.
Yeah, the Texans are they're okay versus the tight end. I mean, they're allowing 9 fantasy points per game in standard, and let's see, they're allowing 9 points in PPR as well, roughly to the tight end. So,
and we got a question, Tooch, from the blue crew. PPR leaning on starting Kupp and Higgins, sitting Claypool out.
no,
Even with the Bears secondary, I'm taking a shot with Kupp. I feel Deontay back will cut Claypool targets. Your thoughts? Winner takes first. I don't agree. I think you got to start Claypool over Kupp in this one. Kupp has been shut down many times by the Bears, and Jared Goff's not going to have any time to throw in this game.
Yeah,
I think Claypool has a great day against Tennessee because a lot of teams are going to be focusing on Juju. You've seen Juju getting shut down and then Claypool hurting people. I think you're going to see that again. Deontay Johnson coming back, I don't think matters. I still love Claypool. He's a big part of that offense. Tooch, would you agree?
I'm taking Claypool and Higgins. But if Higgins is getting the targets, Claypool, they're scheming to find ways to get him the ball, plus he's a big target in the red zone. They're giving him carries on the goal line. So, I mean, I like Claypool. Kupp, I just, like I said, that Bears-Rams game I don't think is going to be high scoring. I could see the Steelers and Titans game being more high scoring. I mean, the Titans just gave up a ton of points to the Texans last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Claypool and Higgins.
I do as well. And then Justin Barker, flex, Cooks, David Montgomery, Bernard, or Dillon?
Just one.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking just one. Justin, can you confirm that we're just picking one here? But if you are picking one, I'm taking Gio Bernard out of all these guys because I think he's going to have a great matchup and a lot of work today.
Yeah, I do too. For me, it's either Bernard or Cooks, and I'll take Bernard since he's going to be the focal point, and then Cooks is in there with a bunch of mouths to feed with Cobb and Fuller and Fells. Dillon, I have to see Aj Dillon do something first.
Yeah, you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, so
Montgomery
is good though too. Montgomery is going to get a lot of touches. But,
I agree.
But like I said, low scoring game.
Yeah, yes, only one. So we're going to go Gio Bernard. King Existence wants to know T. Higgins or Mike Evans today.
For me, it's Higgins.
It's tough. It's tough making that choice because Evans is banged up, but he's a stud. And even when he is banged up, he still scores touchdowns. I like both these guys. I have a hard time sitting Mike Evans in this scenario. Who else do you have, King?
Higgins is getting a crap ton of targets.
I know. I like both these guys, but I just have a hard time sitting Mike Evans.
Yeah.
So let us know in the chat who your other players are, and we'll walk you through that.
Yeah.
We got another question from King Existence. Jamal Williams or Ronald Jones and Mike Davis. Pick two. I'm going to take Jamal Williams.
Yep.
And for sure, I like Ronald Jones a lot.
Yeah.
I also like Mike Davis. I think I'm going to take Mike Davis and Jamal Williams here.
I think, God, it's so hard to sit Ronald Jones right now, though, too.
They're all three are great. If we're looking matchups specifically, you're going Jamal Williams and Mike Davis because Davis
is this PPR because Ronald Jones doesn't catch a lot out of the backfield, so I'll probably go Williams and Davis since they, Mike Davis gets 6 to 9 catches a game.
And they're playing the Saints, so I mean,
yeah, Mike Davis is the number 3 overall running back for targets. He's getting 6 targets a game. week 5, against the Bears, he had 10 targets. So, yeah, PPR. I'd go Davis and Williams.
Yep, I like Davis and Williams there too.
I mean, even with Aaron Jones, before the bye week, Jamal Williams had 8 targets. I mean, I could easily see 8 to 10 targets today for Williams.
Oh, easily.
I just Ronald Jones isn't even Ronald Jones is getting 4 targets a game. 3 weeks ago, he had 9 targets. So, but last week he had 2 targets. But
yeah, I'm looking to see if Jamal is available in any of my leagues. He's not. I was hoping I'd be able to plug him in last minute, but that's okay. So yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in the league today.
The Raiders are giving up the 26 fantasy points to running backs a game. So it's just so hard to sit Ronald Jones, man.
It is. I mean, that's a great you have great options. You can't go wrong. And I actually just got a text question, Tooch, from one of our listeners, and it's about a flex position. It's like, do I play? Let me pull it up again. I just had it in front of me. So do I go with my flex? Do I go with T.J. Hawkinson or Antonio Gibson?
Wow, that is tough.
I think they're both pretty damn close. Gibson's been really starting to come out, and he's got a great matchup against the Cowboys. Hawkinson's got a good matchup against the Falcons. I lean towards Gibson, Tooch. What do you think? I
do too. Versus the running back versus the Cowboys, giving up 21 fantasy points per game. That's 24th worst. The worst 20. They're the 24th team giving up the most. So 21, they're towards the bottom of the league, is what I'm trying to say, but not doing a good job. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So King asked us earlier about T. Higgins or Mike Evans, and he said his other receivers are Traquan Smith, Michael Gallup, and I have Keenan Allen starting. So how many is your league? 3 wide receivers, or is it 2, King? Because
Traquan Smith today is just, there's nobody else for Drew Brees to throw to. Just he's Michael Thomas today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not starting Michael Gallup though, especially after his performance last week.
No, and if it's Andy Dalton throwing the ball versus Drew Brees, I'll take Drew Brees. And he's got Keenan Allen starting, but you can't,
against that with that matchup, you can't bench him.
Have to have Keenan Allen in there with Herbert. Herbert has thrown, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, like majority of his starts.
Herbert might be the number 1 fantasy quarterback by the time all is said and done if he keeps playing the way he is.
Yeah, they're just letting him throw the ball.
So that King says they only start 2 wide receivers. So in that case, you're starting Traquan and Keenan Allen. And then at the flex, I'm assuming the other question was for the flex. You're going with probably T. Higgins.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Yeah.
I like them both, but you got so many good options, man. Traquan, it's hard to trust because he hasn't had a lot of great games. So if I had to pick, and I don't know if you have 2 and then okay, he said it's just 2. So then I'm going with Keenan Allen here, and then I'm going to go with Higgins
for me.
I'll say Higgins and Keenan Allen.
Evans is a little bit banged up right now. He's not getting heavily targeted. I mean, eventually that's going to change. I don't know if he's healthy.
Right. Keegan Bennett wants to know Lindsey or Bell for PPR, and then Drew Brees or Cam Newton.
Wow.
We don't know what to expect from Bell.
I'll take Lindsey for sure. He looked great. And then Brees or Newton, boy, it's tough.
I mean, if I had to choose between the 2, I'm going to take Drew Brees because it's a better matchup against Carolina, but I don't love either quarterback. What do you think, Tooch?
Lindsey and Brees, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say Lindsey and Brees as well. I don't know what to expect out of Bell. I mean, it could be a great start, but I don't want to roll the dice just yet.
I mean, it's hard to sit Newton though, man. He's because he runs the ball. He's like a goal line quarterback. I might go Lindsey and Newton.
They're potato. I mean, I have Breeze ranked 12. I have Newton ranked 13th. So, I mean, potato. We got another one here from Connor. Robert Woods or Gio Bernard? I'm taking Gio. Woods, tough matchup against the Bears. Bernard's got a great matchup against the Browns.
Woods has got a calf injury or shin injury now. He's got a little bit banged up.
He is banged up. C. Chav wants to know Ayuk or D-Bird or go get Gabriel Davis versus Buffalo. Then Edelman or Gage, both PPR. I'll take Gage in the last one just because Edelman's still really banged up. They're not talking about the injury, and he's looking like he's really hurt. So I think Edelman's probably a sit the rest of the season if he's going to be as hurt as he is.
You heard me talking about Gabriel Davis earlier, so I'll take Davis over Ayuk and Bird.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Gabriel Davis, and then
especially with John Brown out against the Jets.
100%. I agree. And it's a great matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Moorshed wants to know, pick 3 in PPR, Chark, Moore, Robert Woods, Robbie Anderson. I'd say all of – ooh.
Boy, that's tough.
Robert Woods banged up, tough matchup against the Bears, so I think I'd probably take all of them except for Bobby Trees.
Pick 3, yeah. I'll go that same way as well. But, I mean –
Chark, Moore, Anderson.
I hate to put 2 players in the same team in one,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I hate that. So in that case, I'm going to take Chark, Woods, and Anderson.
Yeah, I'll go the same. Chark, Woods, and Anderson. I mean, Robert Woods has got a terrible matchup too.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of those.
I might think about starting Chark and either Anderson or Moore, and then maybe flexing in a running back if you can.
Yeah, I guess it depends on, do you start 3 wide receivers or is it 2 wide receivers and a flex, Josh? Let us know. Never mind. There's the next question from Josh. Mike Williams, OBJ, or McKinnon in the flex?
I love Mike Williams, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and if I'm you, the 3 out of the wide receivers you gave us, I think you
Williams,
start
OBJ.
I'd say start Anderson, then start Chark, then throw in. I'm sorry. I'd say take Robbie Anderson, then start Mike Williams and OBJ, and then put McKinnon in the flex.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, if it's 3 wide receivers. If it's 2 wide receivers.
It is because he said pick 3 in the last one, and then he asked the next one for PPR. So for the flex.
I'm starting Williams and OBJ for sure as my wide receivers in those.
Mm-hmm.
And then flexing in, or as a third wide receiver, I guess I'll take two
different leagues. Gotcha. Well, cool. Well, either way, Josh, thanks for tuning in and thanks for asking the question.
I like Williams, yeah.
Browns fan 32, Gio or Claypool in half-point PPR?
Man, if he's a Browns fan, I'm sure he'd rather start Claypool today. But I mean, I'm going to default with the running back here.
Yeah, Gio's got a great matchup, and I think he's got a better chance to have multiple touchdowns because Claypool, I think, is going to score probably once. Gio might score twice or 3 times.
Yeah, if Claypool could blow up though, too, man, it's just.
I love them both, man. That's tough.
For running backs, I default just because they get twice as many touches as wide receivers, but
well, that's all right. Team out of nowhere wants to know full PPR, Gibson or CEH?
I'm probably going CEH.
I don't know. He's got Bell. It's going to take some carries away from him. I really like what I've seen out of Gibson, Tooch. I don't know how much of the playbook Le'Veon Bell knows yet.
The number 1 team versus running backs is the Broncos, so I guess we'll go Gibson.
Yeah, I'm going to go Gibson just because the Cowboys are so bad, and he's been more and more involved every single week. So I'm going to lean towards Gibson there. But that's wild, man. There's some great questions in the chat today, man.
Yep.
And we're just about at the hour mark, guys. Kickoff is just around the corner. If you have any last-minute questions, get them in. Otherwise, we're going to wrap the show here in about 3 minutes. But if you got any last-minute questions, get them into us. We appreciate everyone that's been hanging out in the chat all afternoon. Of course, Dad22, Connor Gorzinski, Josh Durazio, Sam Joshi, Steve Me, Manuel Gomez, Carlos Andres Benitez, Blue Crew, Justin Baker, King Existence, Keegan Bennett, and C. Chav. We really appreciate you, as well as Browns Fan 32 and Team Out of Nowhere. So really appreciate you guys hanging out, asking all your fantasy questions, and joining us on the Fantasy Football Goon Show. Tooch, any last-minute comments, questions, concerns, or fantasy advice for fantasy players this Sunday?
Go for the teams with the high over-unders, because Vegas is often right. However they do it, it's not often that they're way off the mark. So use that as your barometer. Like I said, the Rams and Bears are low scoring. So,
and then Team Out of Nowhere, tight end premium, Drew Sample or Damian Harris.
Is Damian Harris is a running back though, right? Or it's just kind of I would take.
I think he's saying that the tight ends are very scoring heavy in this league. Because I think that's what he means by
tight end premium. Okay. So hold on a second. Let me effort this a little bit here. The Browns are giving up 9 fantasy points a game to the tight end. About middle of the pack. They're not terrible. Damian Harris, man, versus the running back San Francisco is
they're not great.
They're not great, but they're banged up on defense. So
I know it's probably easy to go with Harris here, but I think if it's a tight end premium, high scoring tight end league, I think Sample is going to get a lot of targets in this game. I think he could easily score once, and he's a big threat in the red zone.
Yeah,
I like Sample in a tight end premium league.
I do too. I'll go Sample.
And then we're getting a couple last minute questions. Connor's asking about your guy Darren Fells, Tooch. How should he feel about him?
I feel great about him.
I do too.
Like I said, he's 6'7", 260 pounds, 270 pounds. He has a huge red zone threat. The Packers are okay versus the tight end. I think they're like middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So, right in the middle of the pack.
I love Fells. And to go back to the question from Team Out of Nowhere about the tight end premium, he clarified it's 1.5 points PPR for tight ends. So you're definitely starting Drew Sample in that league.
Yeah, Browns giving up 9 fantasy points per game. They're kind of towards the bottom half of the league against the tight end.
Yeah, so I mean, even if he has 4 or 5 catches, you're golden. And then I'm assuming you get points for yardage. And then, of course, if he scores a touchdown, you're living on easy street. So I love Sample.
All right.
He said, thanks, guys. I just subbed him in. Have a great Sunday. You too, Team Out of Nowhere. Appreciate you joining us. That's a fantastic segue for the end of the show. Thanks for joining us for every Sunday edition of the Fantasy Football Goon Show. We're live every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Central. Also every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, talking waivers, recapping the week before, and getting you ready for the week after. Huge thank you to this guy, John Santucci, the Tooch, for hanging with me, talking fantasy, living the dream.
Right on.
And it's been a fun day talking fantasy. Hopefully all your fantasy matchups and dreams come true. We'll be here to walk you through it all. Hit us up on Twitter at FFBGoon. You can hit me at Joe Mandel. John, you can get it at Santucci_John. And then make sure you step on over to fantasyfootballgoon.com. You can see it right up there in the top banner every single Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon to get your rankings for the week. I rank all the players every single week by position to help you set your lineups, so you can check that out every single week. And then you can head over to bearsbarroom.com, where you can find all of our podcast info. You can head over to the swag shop and buy a Fantasy Football Goon t-shirt, which will help support both the Tooch and I, and keep bringing you this great content. And while you're there, you can also subscribe to the Bears Barroom Patreon, where you get some extra content. You get an extra podcast from us every couple weeks. And, it's just fun stuff, and it helps support us in what we do. So we appreciate you guys always. And real quick, we got a little bit of props here for Connor. By the way, thanks for the Swift advice last week. It was a deciding factor.
I wish I had listened to my own advice, Connor. I loved him. I just had other guys. I was, I wanted to see it first, like I do with a lot of these guys. But man, good job on pulling the trigger.
Absolutely, and we appreciate you, Connor, for tuning in and taking our advice and getting that fantasy win because of it. So we appreciate it. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this show. So we love you. And then we got one last question. Eric just hit it before we ended the show. Eric Brewer in PPR, would you guys go Jimmy Graham with Ramsey, probably locking up Robinson, or TJ Hawkinson? Tooch, I think you got to go with TJ Hawkinson here. He's got a great matchup against the Atlanta Falcons today, who are not good against the tight end. Would you agree?
The Falcons are the second worst in the league, giving up 14 points to the tight end. And the Rams are giving up 8 points. So I'm going to take Hawkinson. But I like Graham in this game too. Like you said, Ramsey, I think you can't go wrong either. It's PPRs. Graham might get more catches. That's the thing.
Right.
But said it's a lower scoring game, so I'm going to lean Hawkinson with the going against the Falcons.
I will as well. I like TJ.
Hawkinson touchdown dependent. So
he is. I think he's going to score today, though. I really do. So I love that. I love all you guys for tuning into the show. Again, huge thanks to Tooch and both of us. Tooch and I both thank Aldo Gandia, the barkeeper, the head of the Bears, the Barroom Network, and he's the guy that keeps it all moving behind the scenes.
Yes,
and lets us do this show every week. So thank you. And again, please consider going to patreon.com and subscribing to the Bears Barroom Patreon, and we'll give you guys extra content. And next year, if you're
we got big things planned, Joe. For if you subscribe Patreon for Fantasy Football Goon, we're going to have a Goon League guillotine again, second year for Patreon subscribers. I would like to do a Dynasty League team for Patreon subscribers. I've never been in a Dynasty League, so that would be awesome. And next year would be great to get into a Goon Fantasy Football Goon Dynasty League.
Absolutely, and we've got a lot of stuff coming, so we appreciate you supporting us. And even if you can't give anything or subscribe, we just appreciate you tuning in. But you can buy a Fantasy Football Goon t-shirt at bearsbarroom.com on the swag shop, and you can subscribe to the Patreon and support the entire Barroom Network. So we appreciate you guys.
I'm getting a Goon t-shirt. My next paycheck.
There you go. You gotta get on it. It's really great. It's got the same logo that's right up here, and it's just a fun shirt to have. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Football Goon Show. Tooch and I got to get out of here because we got to go watch these games and get all the intel for you next week. And then you got the Bears playing the Rams tomorrow.
Has to approve a trade so I can get that in my lineup.
Approve a trade?
I think so. Is that what you do in Sleeper?
I do. I did. Oh, I see it. I see it right now. I just approved it, Tooch.
Thank you.
I just processed the trade for you. So get them in your lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Week 7 football in the NFL. Go win your fantasy matchups. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys all morning. And guys, we'll see you on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central on the Barroom Network. Same time, same place. And we'll be talking about the games from today. So good luck in your matchups, and we'll see you on Tuesday night.